everybody, welcome to another episode of What a Hell of a Way to Die. It is Francis. It is your video news update again. I've got some great stuff for you this week. Nate is out of town. He is on a much needed vacation after all the trials and tribulations. If you've been listening to all the dad chats, you've been catching up on what's going on. A lot of trading sicknesses back and forth. So he and his family are off, hopefully on a beach somewhere at the moment, relaxing, enjoying themselves. So you get me, you get a video update, and you get the audio from this video update. So one of the first big things that I do want to talk about, big announcement for the show, is that we are going to be rebranding. August time frame is kind of what I'm looking at, but we are going to be rebranding from What a Hell of a Way to Die to What a Hell of a Way to Dad. Graphic design, not my passion, as we can see. This is just a little thing I whipped up, but Nate and I discussed this. We're moving more and more away from military stuff, but it doesn't mean that we're going to be completely away from it. It's just that I've been out of the Army for 4 years. Nate's been out for more than that, probably more than 10 years at this point. And we're at a point where, like, we just don't want to be focused on being the military podcast, right? We don't always want to be the guys that are complaining about the Army. Now, there will still be that. Don't worry. The content is not going to change, to be honest. Like the dad chats, the interviews. I'm hoping to get a few more interviews with some other authors that I really like that are dad related. Not only the guy who wrote Sharp, Bernard Cornwell, but there's my daughter reads a lot of current writers and cartoonists and things like that I think I could get on and talk to. I think that'd be really great. But also, yeah, we're gonna have the bonus episodes. We're gonna talk about Deadliest Warrior. We're gonna watch goofy movies. We're gonna we recently had one about cruise ships. I don't know. That stuff's all gonna stay the same. None of that is gonna change. Content is gonna be the content that it always has been. We are just kind of changing the name. What for me, because when I'm emailing somebody like, hey, you write this kid's book, do you want to come on to a show called What a Hell of a Way to Die? It's a hard sell. It's not, and you got to kind of rely on somebody being like, well, I will overlook that name to come onto your show and talk about the comic, talk about Dogman or whatever comic that I make. So that's coming. The website will change. The store's going to be pretty much the same. There will be some new things in the store, though. I'm finally going to be able to do t-shirts and stuff. But I'm migrating away from Wix and into Shopify because it's going to be a better platform. Overall, and trying to get away from Wix is owned by an Israeli company, and it's not, you shouldn't be giving those guys money if you can help it. So we're moving over to Shopify. I'm looking forward to this rebrand. I'm looking forward to being able to do more things with the show, but like I said, not really a whole lot's going to change. The evolution of the show, obviously we're not the same show we were 8 years ago when we started. Don't even have the same people on as back then. But what we do have, though, is a show that has a lot of longevity and has tried to remain dynamic and change and adjust. I always, like if I'm doing something and I don't feel like it's working well, I'll find something else. We dropped to doing Deadwood and started doing Deadliest Warrior, and that helped out a lot on the Patreon. So, if you're looking for more of kind of what we do here, and a little bit more of, different conversations, I suppose, and you're a non-member of the Patreon, once a month I do an episode of Deadliest Warrior. Once a month I do try to do an episode with Carrie where we're watching episodes of MASH. And, a lot of things in between. I got a good bonus episode with Nate coming up pretty soon that's going to be available. So please, all of the things that you know and love about this show really aren't going to change. I'm trying to do more of these video podcasts. It struck me the other day because I was like, it's hard to find the time to do these video updates. And what better time to do that than, me, who wakes up at 6 a.m. regardless, than to come out to my office and do these episodes then. So currently for me, it's 6:30 in the morning while I'm recording this. And that's fine for me. Like, as a dad, those early mornings are no problem for me. I was awake before my alarm went off at 6 a.m. So here's a perfect time for me to do this. You know, if I'm not exercising, I can come on and I can do something like this. So I'm hoping to do more of these. They might be a little bit shorter if I'm doing them every week, but this one's going to be a full episode for you. We're going to talk technicals. We're going to talk updates to the store. We're going to talk Disney. I'm going to talk about some Disney a little bit. We might as well start broaching those topics as well. And a few other things, a few other changes that are going to be coming. So keep all of this in mind as we go forward. Things might, just the way that you hear things might be a little bit different, but you know, your RSS feed, the accounts, everything like that. The only real big thing, like I said, is changing is the website. So that's all coming in August. We'll talk about it more as we get closer to that date. But I've got most of the website kind of already built, and I've got what else? I need graphic design. So if you want to work with me a little bit, help me out with this. So I'm not using something like this. That'd be very helpful. Hit me up. I pay artists. We can work on some ideas. So, but if not, I will find some. And don't feel like you got to be obligated to come help my dumb ass. So, these are what we've got going on. So, and like I said, that's the big thing. That's the big thing that we've got. And I'm very excited about it. I'm excited to do more, to be more dadly. Because let's be honest, like Nate and I are both dads, and anything we like is dad stuff because by the transitive properties of we are dads. So, you know, all this stuff that we talk about, we're going to talk. I'm going to talk about naval history books. Uh, you know, Nate likes to talk about running audio and doing all of his audio setup. You know, all these little puttery things, all these things that we spent a lot of time building up to become. We're going to talk about those things, and if you're listening, there's a likely chance that if you are not a dad, you probably have dad-ish vibes, and you can be a lady dad too. It's not about have you had a child. It's about, are you in your mid to late 30s, early or in your 40s, as I am, 41. I'm the oldest of our group. But are you in these at this age, and are you comfortable with who you are and want to explore other things that you can do? Like, I'm doing more art. I'm doing more these dice rollers. I'm always looking for new like I try to look at things and say, oh look, here's a cool thing that maybe I can do something with. I got something to show you about that toilet paper roll holder that I've worked on. So there's a lot of there's just a lot of changes that we're going through, and I'm excited to do them. I'm excited to change the show, be more dynamic, do more things that people are going to be interested in, and more things that I'm interested in too. So let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. We'll talk about a few other things. You know what we haven't talked about in a long time? Technicals. I love them. I'm a big fan of them. But I'm going to highlight something here because technicals come in all shapes and sizes. And for a reminder, if you don't remember what a technical technically is, civilian vehicle that has been modified for war. So if you've got a Humvee that you put a machine gun on, it's not a technical. If you find a pickup truck, though, that's a technical. And one of the easiest things to do is to put a machine gun in the back of a technical and call it good. And hey, that's perfectly fine. A disc machine gun, a 50 cal, whatever you got hanging around as a as a rapid fire putting in the back. But I gotta say, I gotta share a little love, because the one you see machine guns, you see artillery, you see the ZU, the ZU-2 whatevers. But what I love, something that I just believe is something like, every time I see one on a truck, I just get a little excited. And that's the unguided rocket pod taken off of a helicopter. This is a fantastic setup because, it's like the one thing that you cannot fucking aim whatsoever. There's no aim, like, again, unguided rocket pod. So so maybe you can arc them a little bit, maybe, or you can, shoot them forward. But you don't have any aiming capabilities with these things. I don't know exactly how effective these are. Like, you don't see them being utilized all that much. At least you don't see very many videos of them being utilized. They're hard to, well, they're not hard. easy to reload. You know, it's not like a machine gun. You go and just put a new belt in and rack the thing. You know, you got to like slide stuff in. You got to set things up. It's got to be able to do this. So this is kind of a one and done thing. You know, you got 20 rockets. You shoot 20 rockets. You're done. So it's, you know, it's a kind of a mid tier technical that is used, but I really feel like it does fills a role that not a lot of people talk about. You know, one of those like more psychological damage things. You know, if you roll in and you've got, you know, two trucks that can do a rocket barrage onto an area, these are small rockets. You know, they're not. I don't know. Maybe they'll take out a tank. Not one of our tanks, I'm sure, but you know, maybe they'll take out a tank or some kind of armored vehicle. I'm sure that it's not, you know, great to get hit by one, but I feel like these are more of a psychological thing. And look, psychological damage during a war, during a fight is absolutely important. You need to fucking scare your enemy. So having a multiple launch rocket system that just barrages you, and maybe you got 3 or 4 of these guys that can do that, and then pull them back. You know, hey, go to you shot your shot, go on into the back. We're going to bring the machine guns and the mortars in. You know, that's a role, a specific kind of doctrinal role that is that's being used there. I would love, you know, the military loves to write doctrine for all their vehicles, how to use them, how to use a Bradley, how to use not just like how to drive the tank, but how to not Bradley, not just how to drive the vehicle, but how to utilize it during war. Here's how you should be driving it during war, not just step on the gas and go, but you know, lining yourself up with other people. You know, tanks need infantry to keep them protected. Infantry needs tanks to keep them protected. You know, it's kind of a symbiotic relationship. But there's not really doctrine for technicals, where you have, you know, your main, you've got machine gun for indirect fire, or I'm sorry, machine guns for direct fire, rocket pods and mortars for indirect fire, anti-air that you can kind of ratchet down and shoot directly at as direct indirect fire. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But, you know, using an anti-aircraft gun to shoot at people is a fucking wild idea. It's just that, you know, because it's flak, you know, it's something that's meant to shoot down something in the air, so it just operates differently. So it's a whole weird thing. But the rocket pod stays kind of in the middle. It fills a doctrine role that that not only does psychological damage, but also, you know, if you can aim this thing, like look at this guy here. I think this is Sudanese. As long as you're pointing that forward at a building, you're gonna hit the building, and you're gonna like fuck up whoever's day is inside of there. And look, this is really nice. Like this is sometimes you see them just kind of ripped off of a helicopter and wired in, but this is, you know, somebody put a little bit of time and effort into this one. I like the little paint job, a little spray painted some swords on there. Like somebody loves this technicals. This is somebody's baby. And I wish all the luck for you and your baby, unless you're one of the bad guys. I don't know. I don't get into the politics of the war. I just enjoy the machines of it. So this is well taken care of. This is the pride and joy. This is something you put into a parade right here. So that's a really nice one. I like that rocket pod. This is pretty incredible. Let's try to blow this up a little bit. So this looks like a rocket pod with rockets on the back. A little bit a bit heavier duty here. But still pretty impressive. You can see that's really bolted well down in the back of that truck there. And then finally, we have this guy. Now, I love these trucks. You see these in Africa all the time, where they're like, "Fuck you, it doesn't rain. We're cutting the entire top off of it," so that you can do stuff like this, or so you can do one of my other favorite things, which is mount a 75 millimeter recoilless rocket in between you and the passenger. So you just have this tube in between the two of you. God help you if this is a manual transmission truck. I don't know how frequent those still are overseas, but you know, if you try to fucking hit the gear 4 while you're not trying to knock the the recoilless rifle out of alignment. So it's incredible. Everybody here has tinnitus. Absolutely. Everybody who's shooting these things cannot hear a fucking thing anymore. So sorry about that, boys, but I wanted to. It's been a while since I've talked technicals, and I wanted to bring up this kind of not talked about very much. Not, you know, maybe that's something we can do. We can build a little doctrine together. But I think rocket pods really serve a really strong purpose. You're probably not going to see a lot of them because it's hard to get rocket pods. They're not exactly laying around all over the place unless you've got a helicopter graveyard. But they're simple. I mean, a rocket pod is just a thing that holds the rockets until you shoot them off. So as long as you got the rockets, you got the ammunition that you can shove in there, you're gonna be good. You're gonna have some decent stuff there. So this is I personally I don't think I'd want the rocket pod technical myself, but I would highly respect. Yeah, it was like Mortarman. I don't want to be a Mortarman, but I understand the importance of being able to lob 122 millimeter mortars and hit a target. Hit a fucking a paper target. A mile away or something. That's important. You need somebody who could do that. I just don't want to do it. It's not there's not a lot of glory wrapped up in being support operations as I know because I'm PAO. So I'd be looking for my glory in I guess my 40s doing territorial wars across for the Mississippi River across the Illinois. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where the next 20 years brings us. Hopefully by the age of 61, I'll still be able to operate a butterfly trigger in case those Illinoisans decide to come over here and get froggy. So we'll see. So let's go ahead and move over to the next segment. So I got to talk about something a little near and dear to my heart here. So recently, I haven't really posted it anywhere, but recently I got disability from the Army. I'm 30% now. We're gonna try to bump those numbers up a little bit for the the high pitched ringing that's been in my ears for the last 20 years. But I am covered under disability now for post traumatic stress. If you are a veteran and you spent time overseas, please jump up on this because look, I always had the do I really deserve it? But yes, I do. I do have problems in crowded areas. I have to wear I have ear protection at all times. Either my little Samsung earbuds that I stick in, or on my keychain, I just have some. They're called loop earbuds. You just pop them in. So I definitely have issues with some of those things. And hey, you know what? I'll take an extra $500 a month. But one thing I wanted to roll this into was I kind of mentioned earlier that I was going to talk about Disney. So Disney World, and look, it's turned into dad chat. We go to Disney a lot. We like Disney because it is familiar. There's always new stuff to do. We know and understand the whole thing. It's very closed system. You don't need to rent a car necessarily or anything like that. And it's we like going. And we get a lot of discounts. If you're military, we get discounts. My wife's a travel agent; she gets discounts. So we get some good discounts there. And we used to go to Disney World all the time, and they had something called DAS Pass, which is the Disability Access Pass that you could get. So what DAS allowed you to do was you could not skip the line, but you would be put into a virtual queue, like a virtual line. So you say, hey, this line is 2 hours long, and I can't stand in line for whatever. I can't stand in line for 2 hours for whatever reason. They say, cool, come back at this time. Then we let you in through the fast pass lane. So it's kind of a way to say, look, I cannot stand in this line for whatever reason. So we have used DAS a lot because my daughter cannot stand in a line for an extended period of time. And this is something that we know is still a problem because the last time we were in Disney, which was within the last 6 or 8 months, I think, we had those problems. We were trying to get onto a ride. We're like, we don't, it said it was a 20-minute wait to get on, which is, usually when you see that, it's like 10 minutes to walk and to walk through the whole queue and then 10 minutes to wait. So we're just like, well, it's probably going to be fine. But it didn't. It backed up. It closed down. Whatever happened. So we're in line for 30, 35, 40 minutes. And my daughter just was absolutely, I can't handle this. We have to leave. And this has been an issue with her for a long time. She is on the spectrum. This is a problem that some kids can have. Some adults can have too, like people have. I know that I don't get into lines that are longer than 30 minutes or 45 minutes because I have the same thing. I feel trapped and then I can't get out. So DAS was a great opportunity to, if you have these kind of difficulties, you can still enjoy the parks to their, fullest extent. Now, of course, when you start talking about something that allows other people to have, an access that, some people are allowed, but others aren't, suddenly it becomes, well, Do they actually need it? How many people are overdoing it, and all of these things. So there's a lot of it's like the welfare argument, right? Like, who are people abusing it? Like, I don't give a shit if people are abusing it. It doesn't, like, most people need it, and I would rather the people who need it have it, and then we have like maybe a couple people who are abusing it. But also, according to the statistics that are going on there, the 13% of the United States is considered disabled, I believe, and then but at any given day, 8% of people in the parks are using it. So it's a smaller number, a smaller percentage of people, all that stuff. So the reason I go through all of this is because they recently changed that, and there's a lot of theme parks that use a third-party company that requires you to get paperwork and documentation, things like that, which I can understand the arguments against that. It makes it very difficult for some people to get documentations. Sometimes you don't get diagnosed. You can't afford to get diagnosed. It is hard to get diagnosed. I know that try getting a 4-year-old girl diagnosed with autism. It's like impossible. They're just like, no, she's just like I know what's going on here, but you don't necessarily get the diagnosis. You don't necessarily get the paperwork. So it's not a perfect system. But what Disney ended up doing is going with a completely different third party, where it has been incredibly insulting to everybody who has tried to do it. So you have to do a video conference with somebody to get this passed. Somebody who suffers from Crohn's disease was told to wear a adult diaper standing in lines, which I don't understand how that's good for that person or anybody who's got to stand around that person. Like, that doesn't make a good time for anybody. Veterans have been told to take a stress ball. If you can't stand in line because it freaks you out, just take a stress ball and it'll be fine, right? You take the stress ball, you squeeze it. That's all you need, right? That's how that works. Fucking course not. And my wife, who is, as I said, a travel agent, she's been all up on this. So I get all of this information, from her. She tells me these things, and like I said, I know how useful these things are, and it's incredibly disappointing that Disney World has gone down this rabbit hole of just saying fuck all the disabled people, because that's how most disabled people feel. I have a friend who loves going to Disney. She has really acute Crohn's disease. She goes to Disney because she knows that the food will be something that she can eat. She knows that she knows she'll be accommodated for the issues that she has. And Disney has always been really good about that. And I don't understand why they fucked this so hard here. Like food allergies and things like that, Disney is all about that. They will help you out. They will take care of you. The head chef, I've more than once having lunch or dinner with this person, the head chef will come out, or the sous chef will come out and be like, yes, let's work with you. Let's figure out what we can make you. So for the longest time, Disney World has been really good about this, but like for the last 6-7 months, they've been on this thing that just like is making people incredibly insulted. And the thing is that if you get denied, you don't get a second chance. You're just denied for good. So people aren't going back to Disney. Like and I don't know, maybe that's what they're trying for. Maybe they want less money, but it's just really disheartening that, they love to talk about supporting veterans and supporting disabled people, and then kind of throw this out there to really fuck things up. And as somebody who utilizes it, because I understand that we cannot enjoy the parks to the full extent, because my daughter has trouble standing in lines, it's nice to have this option. It's nice to be able to do these things. And Disney's really fucked that. So I wanted to bring that up because I feel like disabled people are often overlooked, because why should I accommodate you? All these other people are fine. Why should I worry about you? Why you're one person? Why do I need to build a wheelchair ramp for you? Like, because we take care of each other. That's the whole point. We're supposed to be taking care of each other. So, and disabled people always get shunted to the side of these things. So, as somebody who has a daughter that has troubles, as somebody who does have troubles himself, it's really fucked up to see this. And Disney knows. Like the manager of the parks knows. Like, they've been calling and talking to people. But the thing is that a lot of people are like, this is bad and you need to stop it now and go back to the old way while you figure out something new. But they're just continuing with this. They're just continuing with this really shitty system. I don't know if they've got like a contract, they have to use it for a year or whatever. to and then reconfigure it, figure out what they would need to do with it. I honestly, like, if this many people were mad at me about how much I dicked something up, I just eat the loss. Parks make a lot of money, man. You can, and I don't know why they're fucking themselves on this one, other than they just, it's becoming less about the experience and more about the shareholders, which is, what everything is now, right? Everything is becoming about the shareholders. It's not about, your experience or you having a great time. Yeah, we want you to have a great time. That's a good side item, but also you need to pay, the $200 to get into the park, $100 for Genie Plus, $100 for food, all these other things. So, and to be fair, I am, just kind of getting new into this kind of, disability advocacy. It's very important, I feel, because I don't like people being marginalized. I feel like everybody should, no matter how you're different, we should figure out a way to accommodate you so you get to be part of the big party, right? I I'm fully on board with that. So when that's not happening, and when people get shunted to the side, that really pisses me off. So I know a lot of people that my wife works with aren't going to Disney World right now, which is great. They'll go to Universal or other travels and trips and things like that. And we're going to Hawaii pretty soon. That's going to be pretty exciting. So we have a lot of other things that we've got going on ourselves, uh, and it doesn't require us to do Disney. Like, we like Disney World, but like, it's not the only place for me to go to. And while I like the comfort, I'm have no problem going to like Los Angeles or going to Washington D.C. or New York or any cool city, Chicago, any cool city, any other place that I can go spend my money. I have no problem with that. So hopefully Disney pulls their heads out of their asses at some point in time. I don't know. I know Disneyland is kind of poised on striking as well, so more power to them. I wrench the power out of the shareholders again. Give it back to the people. Let us have a good fucking time again with the mouse. All right, so let's talk about what I have been reading. I have been on a kick. I know I talked about it last update. I'm on much more of a kick of it now. Of reading a lot of historical fiction, specifically about the Napoleonic Wars. So I've been reading Sharp. As I mentioned, hopefully I'm going to get the author of the Sharp books onto the show to talk about that. So the book that I've been reading currently, actually that I just finished, is Master and Commander by Patrick O'Brian. Now, you are probably familiar with the 2003 movie with Paul Bettany and Russell Crowe. Great movie, fantastic movie. I did recently rewatch it myself. The books are a lot. So if you haven't read these, and you're not deep into 1800s sailing, you might not be into it. It is. I enjoyed it because Patrick O'Brian also just has a great way of telling stories and of writing. Like, it's a funny book. Like, I was surprised at the humor that's in this as well. The back and forth between Captain Aubrey and Stephen Maturin is really great. But it's a very dense book to get into, to be sure. And it being the first book, there's a lot of like, oh, we have to explain what all these boat things are. Here's all the boat stuff. Here's what the 25 different sails that we have. They all have different names. Here's how all these things work. It's great because Stephen is, he's not a sailor. So every time he asks his question, it's a great opportunity for a little bit of exposition on how boats work. Patrick O'Brian read a lot of books about boats, and he's going to make you read a lot of books about boats too. So I would recommend this, but it is dense. Like, I'm honestly surprised I got through it because it is there's enough action interspersed between all of the talk about jig booms and shit like that it keeps you hooked and ready. But I will tell you, I have moved back over to a Sharp book after this because I wanted something a little bit easier. And hey, Sharp was an enlisted guy, so it's a little bit easier that way. One thing that's interesting, though, is that a lot of this is, dad coded, right? Because it's Napoleonic Wars, it's ships, it's, shooting cannons and stuff. But when I was talking to my mother about this, my mom has all of these books. She's telling me about all these other book series too that I can read. Some of them a little bit more humorous than what I've been reading. So it seems like I'll have like kind of a little progression of like super serious to humorous books to read. My mom apparently really loves Napoleonic War historical fiction. Who knew? She owns all of the Master and Commander books. I know she owns a lot of the Sharp books. She's telling me about all these other ones. She actually owns, like, I asked her one time what the oldest book she has is. She's got a lot of books, and she has, I believe, like a French ship log from the 1700s. So, mom apparently had a special interest that was very specific to that, but never talked about it. She was not a I love Napoleon and let me tell you all about how Napoleon was great, like a dad would. She was a mom and she kept that shit quiet. And me saying like, oh, I think I'm kind of interested in this, and now she's like, oh, let me shove like 40 books your way, which is for me great. That is how I try to bond with my mom is reading books, and she reads a lot, my mother, and I have not always enjoyed the same books she does. My father and I actually read more similar books because my dad is like me and he's into science fiction, but like that kind of speculative science fiction, not necessarily the military sci-fi stuff. So he and I have always traded stuff back and forth, but um this is a nice thing. My mom, like I said, my mom's got a lot of books, and she's like, yeah, you come on over, I'll let you borrow books out of the library, you bring them on back. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's really great that mom is into this and has this kind of dad energy. As I mentioned earlier, you don't have to be a physical dad to have dad energy. My mom has a little bit of dad energy there with her love of Napoleonic War. So that's good. I don't know if she's watched Napoleon though. I know she's seen Master and Commander. She thinks that's a great movie. I don't know if she watched the Ridley Scott Napoleon. I think I told her not to because it's not visually it's fine, but overall it's not great. So but you should watch it. If anything, to watch a horse take a cannonball to the chest. So that's what I've been reading. Like I said, I'm on Sharp now. I'm probably going to be kind of rotating back and forth between a few things. But also for TV, I have started to rewatch Succession. I watched it. I didn't jump on the bandwagon until season 4 was coming out, and then I watched it as season 4. I actually like when the last episode aired. I told my wife like I have to go out to the office and watch this because if I don't, all this shit's gonna get spoiled for me on Twitter. I gotta watch it. So, but I've been rewatching it again. Also, a very funny TV show with a lot of really great writing in it. Big fan of Kieran Culkin in this one. So Succession on Max, I suggest watching it. It's as I'm also making this transition over to What a Hell of a Way to Dad and making some business changes. Watching a business show is good. It kind of gets me hyped up to do business. Obviously not the business they do. I'm not going to create a cable news company that's going to lie to you a bunch, but or do fraud or cover up crimes and shit like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sell you patches and berate Nate for being an officer, but yeah, it's still it gets you into the like, all right, let's do some business, put on some power shirts and ties and do business. So good show, you should watch it. Dark comedy, very funny, very at times very fucked up. I do like that how Succession is just like, yeah, these guys are really funny, but every like episode they have to throw in a like, let's just remind you of what a huge piece of shit everybody is, and how there's nobody you should really be rooting for in this one. And those are my favorite shows. The show where it's like, I don't care if everybody gets hurt in this because they fuck them all. They all suck. So, great show if you want to do something like that. So, that's books, that's movies. Let's go ahead and move over to the next segment. Okay, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm going to be doing more of these, probably a little bit shorter ones. Try to do 1 or 2 a week. I think we'll see where I end up with that. I don't know. At the moment, all of this audio gets sent off to Tom to tweak up, and then gets sent back to me, and then gets overlaid over all the video that I do. So it's not a perfect process there. And I want to do it's a good process in that Tom can take my shitty audio and make it good. But I need to be able to make my audio decent enough for uploading stuff. And Lord knows I get yelled at enough. I got 2 producers that I work with, that both of them are. When you're an audio producer, you got to be a little anal about the audio. So I understand when I throw my bullshit up there, it sounds like nails on a chalkboard to some people. So Uh, that's going to be the plan. More of these, but a little bit shorter. At the moment, I'm trying to fill in for a whole episode, as I was doing when Nate was on paternity leave, but I'm realizing I don't really have to do that. I'm recording these, on my downtime at work, so I can put 5-10 minute segments together pretty quickly, throw them up on YouTube. So subscribe on YouTube. The link is going to be down in the show notes for those of you listening on the podcast. A couple things that I do also want to show off to you guys. So Killdozer stickers are back. It's a limited run of these. I probably will not be doing any more after this one because we came to a tipping point where now when you talk about Killdozer, people yell at you because Marv Heemeyer was a piece of shit, which I know, but he built the Killdozer, so it's it's a good sticker. You don't have to buy it if you don't want to. It's fine. But I've got a handful of these. So those are in the shop for $3 a piece. And if you like those, go get them. If you don't worry. They're gonna be gone pretty soon. Also, I want to show off one of my holy rollers that I made. I talked about these last time. So these are the these Bible. Oops, sorry. They're these Bible boxes. These union-made Bible boxes with a little picture of Jesus on the inside. And so I go back here. I put this inscription in here. We may throw the dice, but the Lord determines how they fall. That is from Proverb. That is if you go look that up in your King James version, it's not going to say it. It's about casting lots and everything, but this is one of those new hip young translations that makes it sound cooler. So especially when you're making a dice rolling box. So these are I have two of these. They're both available. They pretty much look the same. There's slight variances in them, but two of them they're going to be available, and that's all I got. So if you want those, go pick those up. I have shown you these other dice rollers too, these cigar box dice rollers that I have, and that's sorry, I only put the one. So these are little tiny, not tiny, but they're dice rollers about yay big. They're made out of old cigar boxes. I have a whole collection of cigar boxes that I'm doing this with. Somebody actually recently bought my Game Masters box, which has a pull-out drawer and everything. It was an old silverware holder container thingy. So somebody bought that, but right when somebody bought it, I found like an exact same version of that silverware holder. So that is going to be the next project. Is going to be to gut that and get that ready and put that up on the site too. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to work on handmade stuff. Unfortunately, I'm hoping this the 4-day that we just had, I had to spend a lot of time doing housework. So I'm hoping this weekend maybe we'll see. I don't know, man. There's always something going on, So but there is stuff up there. I've also bought a lot more just cool stuff that I'm going to put up in the store, the podcast addict section. So I think I'm going to wait until I have everything moved over to Shopify before I really hit with a lot of that stuff. So I'm trying to prep really well so that when the new store is open, the new website is being used, I've got a whole bunch of new stuff for people to look at, and I can post and everything like that. So that is the goal. I'm working steadily on a lot of different things. So I thank you all for being fans for as long as you have, and listening to us and growing with us and changing with us and all those other great and wonderful things. I look forward to continuing to do this. I look forward to more of my 40s, I guess. I look forward to being in bed at 10 o'clock at night on a regular basis. These are the things that I'm looking forward to. So I appreciate it. And I'm really glad to have you guys along. So thank you, and we'll talk to you next week.